feel super connected to the ocean. You know, every time I jump in it, I just kind of feel alive. And even more so when riding a wave, you know, you're riding this power that Mother Nature is offering. And you're literally just gliding across this wave, like flying down it. There's no other, you know, experience or feeling that you can even come close to that. First experience of kind of riding waves in the ocean was body surfing. Just as a small kid going out there and just catching these rollers and riding on the body. And then one day someone brought a bodyboard over from Australia, I think it was. And that was my first experience of riding an actual wave. And then that evolved into surfing. The first time I ever stood up on a surfboard. I can't explain that feeling, that rush, the adrenaline. And I'm constantly searching for that same experience as the first wave I caught. So I'm traveling all over the world now, surfing Indonesia, Australia, you name it. And I'm just searching for that same moment, whether that's going bigger or getting deeper in the barrel, just always look for that same rush. Dubai back in the day was a very small community. Everyone knew everybody, all the expats knew people, we had local friends, really, really safe place. And we all had this like surf little community on the beach. It was probably about 15, 20 of us max.
I think Damien Brown, those guys were in the water before I got in. But
what time was that? Like late 80s or?
No, I think it was like 92, 93.
Okay, early 90s.
Yeah.
We didn't drive back in the day then as well when we were surfing, so we used to just hitchhike on those trucks, you know, the worker trucks, and just sit in the back of the car and give them a couple dirhams, and they were stoked. And yeah,
and especially like on those big like winter stormy days, a bit like what you've got now.
Yeah.
Like you wanted to go somewhere that was a bit more sheltered, and then you get to go a bit further down the coast to like Dosk or is it Coke machines?
Coke, yeah.
Which is Coke's now Russian La Mer? Or is it
no? Coke's was literally the beach after here.
Yeah.
Right. Then it went to Then it went to Mole Hills, which was the Hilton Beach Club. Then Dosk. Then we had Hole in the Wall, which is the beach before before Russian Beach. Yeah, that was La Mer.
Yeah.
And then we went all the way down to Mamzar.
So yeah, Mamzar was that end spot. Yeah. That was like the best, I reckon.
Yeah. And the furthest.
And the furthest. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like you said, it's just like you knew everybody, but now it's like well over. Maybe the community is well over like 1,500.
Really?
So it's growing rapidly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
In such a short period of time, how much it's growing.
Yeah.
We used to surf and the workers and the locals would look at us and be like, wow, what are these guys doing? I've never seen this before. It was such a new thing to this country. And kind of we were the real pioneers and you know, the first kind of generation of surfers out here. So it's really special to be able to have that moment in Dubai. Sunset Beach is the heart of surfing, really, in the whole region. Whenever there's waves, the whole scene gathers together, and you can go on a day when it's flat, and it'll be a completely different vibe. And then you come on a day when there's waves, and that energy is just it's unbelievable to see all those surfers gathering together and, you know, sharing a passion which everyone can do together and watch your mates surf, and it's really the heart of surfing in Dubai. I guess the whole surf house came about was the fact that there was no surf business at the time, and you couldn't get any products here. So my dad was a pilot, for example, so every time he went on a trip away, I'd ask him to bring me some fins or a surfboard or, you know, whatever it might be, a leash. And then my business partner, Scott Chambers, started the company in 2005. At the time I was at university in Australia. And then I joined him 2 years after that. We just basically, you know, we saw all of our friends coming out of uni and going into the corporate world, getting 9-to-5 jobs. And I was like, dude, I don't want to do that. That's not me, you know. And Scott and myself were both on the same level, and we were super passionate about surfing. And we just said, man, this is exactly how we want to live our lives. Let's live and breed what we believe in, and make it happen. And that's how Surf House developed.
Surfing, beyond being a sport, holds a significant importance in my life. Not only did I grow up around the sea, but also revolve my business and lifestyle being connected to it. While surfing, it's the only moment I feel in a true meditative state, where the rest of the world switches off. At sea, I always feel at home.